Hi loves, welcome to the channel Style by C. Today's tutorial will be on how to illustrate this beautiful built up overlap gown. Do subscribe to the channel, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, watch and share. The first thing first I'm going to mark is 2 to 3 inches before marking my shoulder line, that is before the start point line. Then the next step to take is to mark 5 inches inwards, that is after marking your 3 to 2 inches, mark 5 inches inwards. The next step to take now is to go ahead and insert your half length. Okay, starting from your shoulder line or start point line, that's your start point line. Go ahead and insert your half length. Having done that, now this is what we have. Now on the start point line, that's where you're going to mark your shoulder measurement. So whatever your shoulder measurement is, go ahead and insert it at that point. From there, come down to 1 inch. This is for your shoulder slope. Then here you mark your neck width. So I worked with 3 inches for my neck width. Go ahead and connect it to your shoulder slope as you see me doing. The next point now is to mark your chest line. To get yours, divide your bust measurement by 6, add 1.5 inches to it. You get your chest line. Okay, so mine is 7.5 inches. I'll go ahead and make a rule across that point. From the start point line, I'm going to go ahead to mark my bust line, which is at 10 inches. Then I also go ahead to make a straight rule across. The next point I took was to mark my shoulder measurements on my chest line. This is to enable me create my armhole curve. And please don't forget to label your pattern paper. It's optional actually. So I'll connect this from my shoulder slope to my chest line. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead to divide what I have at that point into 2 to get the midpoint. So divide what you have there into 2 to get the midpoint. Then from that midpoint, come in by 1/2 inch. This is to create your armhole curve. Connect to your shoulder slope. Then from the midpoint again, you curve into your chest line. At this point now, your armhole is ready. The next step to take now is to go ahead to insert your body measurement, that is your round body circumference measurement. You can decide to use extra 1 inch or 2 inches for seam allowance. So I just use 1.5 inches for seam allowance. Then on my waistline, I also do the same. Insert my waist measurement plus my seam allowance. Then I'll go ahead to connect the points together. The next step now is to go ahead and insert your nipple to nipple measurements on your bust line and on your waistline. Then connect the 2 points using a rule. Now at the hemline, we're going to be marking 1/2 inch on both sides of our line. That is on our half line. This is for our dart intake. So I'll go ahead to connect it to my bust line in a slant form. The next step to take now is we removed 1 inch on our hemline or half length. I went ahead to add it back to my pattern paper. I'm going to retrace my measurements. That's my line. The next step to work on now is our neck area. So from the neck width, I'm going to go up by 2 inches. Yeah. Then I also go ahead and mark my neck width where that my 2 inches is. Then I will make a rule to that point. Now that is my new neckline. Okay. Then I'm going to be making a curve from that new neckline, that's new neck width, to my shoulder slope. That is from that our 2 inches to our shoulder slope. So we're going ahead to create a new shoulder. This is what we have. Okay. Now from the first startup line, we're going to come down to 8 inches. We're going to mark 8 inches. This is to enable us create our slant, our wrap that is going to go over to the other side of our piece. Okay, so I'm going to mark 8 inches at that point. So from the new shoulder we created, I'm going to be connecting to that inches I have. Please note, you can decide to make your 8 inches, maybe use 9 inches or 10 inches, or maybe 7 inches or 6, depending on how wide you want it to be. But to avoid it being too tight or too open, that's why I use 8 inches. Then from the 8 inches, I'm going to connect to my 5 inches that I have. That is the extra 5 we marked earlier. Okay, that spacing. So that is the one that is going to go over to the other side and overlap. All right. So I'm going to go ahead to connect to that point now. Along the line of cutting out my pattern paper, I decided to illustrate on how to cut the back piece. Okay, so what you have to do for your back piece is, for the back piece, I'm going to, from the center line, I'm going to mark 2 inches downwards. These 2 inches I went ahead to mark is for my zipper allowance. Our back will be having a zip. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to mark my 2 inches. You can decide to work with 1.5 inches, which is totally fine. Mark it, then go ahead and connect them using a rule. Now from the new neckline we have, neck width we have for the front, we're going to be connecting to our back zip area. Okay, so remember we use 2 inches upwards, and the back of our neck depth is going to be 2 inches. So basically here we have 2 inches, so from there connect to form the depth of your back neck. Then you go ahead and cut out your back piece first, maybe folding the paper. Cut out your back piece, then use the front to cut out your front piece. So the one I used black marker pen is for my back, while the one I used red marker pen is for my front. This is what we have for the upper parts of our dress. Now I'm going to be opening my darts line where we have our darts, because I'm going to be adding extra paper that is going to enable me make some pleats. If you look at the picture on the thumbnail, you see that we have some little pleats that are not too obvious. All right, so I'm going to be marking 1 inch extra on my dart intake. So from my dart intake, I'm going to mark 1. On this side, I also go ahead and mark 1. Then I'm going to make a slash, like a line from my bust line to that 1 inch that I have already. So I went ahead to cut out what I have there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to cut it off entirely to enable me spread my paper properly. After cutting it out, I also splashed the pattern paper I have. That is the one I cut out from that point. Now I'm going to be using that paper where I cut out from that area to cut out another piece. So I'm going to spread the paper. Okay, so it's in a triangle form, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead to spread it, then go ahead and cut it out. This is what we're going to be attaching on that area to enable us, like give us extra volume of material or paper that we're going to pleat. What you have to do is just to place that paper you have in between that space. So if it is too tight, what you have to do is just give a little slitting at that area. So this is what I have. Yeah, so I'll hold it down with a tape, then go ahead and make my pleats. So it depends on how you want your pleats to be. You can channel it towards that slant area, overlap area, or you can just split it at this point. But I think it's more preferable to channel it towards the slanted area. So at this point, I'm going ahead to pin it on my mannequin to show you what it's going to look like when you're done. Alright, so I would advise you use the lining piece to turn it out, which is fine. An optional. You can also decide to use this is what we have for our beat up neckline. Do subscribe to the channel, share to friends. See you in our subsequent tutorials.